Isn't it funny, hilarious even, when you hear socialistic imbeciles who know absolutely nothing about anything, who pretend like they know what they're talking about, especially when it's concerning our Constitution and the laws of the land, say stupid things. Like when they're talking about the so-called separation of church and state, which, by the way, I hate to tell you, doesn't really exist. It's hilarious, they talk about the separation of church and state while they're trying to establish their own religions, which, by the way, the Constitution, the First Amendment of the Constitution says they can't do. See, what the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says concerning this point is that the government shall not make any law regarding the establishment of a religion. That means that the state cannot create state laws, which they have been trying to do for a long time. Just look at atheism, agnosticism, tolerance, political correctness, secular humanism, environmentalism, all of which are part of the broader religion of socialism, which, by the way, is not allowed under our Constitution because socialism is based in foreign law and foreign ideology, which is a violation of the Constitution. And if you don't believe me, just go do the studying. See, the truth is our Constitution and our founding documents, they are actually based in the natural and inalienable rights given to us by our Creator, which is Almighty God. And that's the reason why they can't make rules and laws and regulations which attempts to supersede or violate the Constitution. Because it is according to the Constitution. The Constitution is, according to the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, and it's based on the supreme law of the universe. In fact, all of our constitutional rights and the natural, the laws that we have are based in the natural laws of the universe that was created by God. See, the First Amendment law that says they can't establish a state religion also serves the purpose of protecting religious freedom. Is to protect the freedom of religion from interference from politicians who want to create state religions which are not allowed under our Constitution. See, the hilarious irony is these people that yell about separation of church and state don't understand that that covers their own religions. And I know there'll be a lot of atheists and agnostics that says, oh, we don't have a religion. Well, actually, you do. Especially since it requires faith. Faith in stuff like universes magically coming from nothing and getting order from chaos, or organic matter magically evolving from non-organic matter, which physics and quantum physics and other sciences says is impossible. If your ideology is something that you follow with absolute devotion and have faith in, then it's still a religion. And by the way, there's plenty of religions that don't have a deity. that are known religions. But then again, all false religions do have a deity. His name is Satan, which brings me to the next point about atheists and agnostics. The fact that their ideology, their religious doctrine, is based in the satanic principle of do as you will, which is the idea that morality is subjective and all things are permissible, even evil deeds. See, the only difference between Christians and those that have false religions is that we have science that proves the existence of God, especially since a universe cannot be magically created from nothing without a source, without causality, without information, which would violate the laws of the physical universe, because physics and quantum physics says you just can't get something from nothing and you can't get order from chaos. In fact, a universe magically coming from nothing violates the first law of thermodynamics, which says that you can't get something from nothing, and which says that you can't, matter and energy cannot be created from nothing, and it cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Proving that something can only come from something else, which means it must have an original, intelligent source. Because you can't have creation without information, and you can't have information without intelligence. And by the way, you can't say that the universe has always existed, or things that pertains to the universe always existed. Because then that would violate the law of entropy, which is the second law of thermodynamics. And entropy always increases and never decreases, which means if something always existed, then it would have already collapsed. Since entropy is the breakdown of all things eventually, it's hilarious that, they either believe one or the two, the special pleading fallacy that everything magically comes from nothing, which violates the first law of thermodynamics, or the special pleading fallacy that everything has always existed, which violates the second law of thermodynamics. It's going to be hilarious when they find out that none of that garbage is true, since their own Big Bang Theory actually contradicts its own existence. Because time and space and matter couldn't have possibly existed till a few seconds after the Big Bang, because it can't exist at the point of a singularity, not without being annihilated, especially if it was a singularity that was on a quantum scale containing the mass, matter, and energy of an entire universe, which, by the way, couldn't expand or explode by itself because of massive gravity. Also, good luck trying to explain how a universe that's 13.8 billion years old can be 97 billion light years across, since time and space and matter, etc., can't travel faster than the speed of light. I'm just pointing out the absurdity of their socialistic beliefs. Like when these people claim that they believe in evolution, but they also believe in homosexuality and transgenderism, which clearly violates the laws of natural selection upon which evolution is based. Or they believe that there's 50,000 genders and a man can have a period and get pregnant and have babies. Which violates biology. Oh, by the way, I don't care how many made-up genders you make up, or how many sex changes you have, or how many times that you pretend that you're the opposite gender by wearing the clothes of the opposite gender. You can't change who you are genetically. If you have XX chromosomes, you are a female. If you have XY chromosomes, you are a male. You can't change who you are genetically. And this goes back to what I've been talking about. Useful idiots who have been programmed to think that they're fighting for something, or being individuals, people that are dumbed down in our schools and universities. That's the reason why conservatives need to take back our country. We need to go back to the real educational system that we used to have, based in science and facts, reading, writing, arithmetic. They create generations of useful idiots and imbeciles because they're easier to control and manipulate. Well, anyway, all of this garbage that they believe is actually a religion. And you can always tell false religions when they contradict themselves. Just look at Islam. Islam didn't exist till between the 4th and 7th century. It's a satanic plagiarization of both the Torah and the Bible, but it contradicts the Bible. Only difference between religious people is they admit they have a religion. Atheists and agnostics and secularists, they deny that they have a religion, but they do. The only difference between false religions and Christianity is that we have proof for the existence of God. They have contradictions because, like I said, the useful idiot sheep of the world are easy to control and manipulate. And by the way, if you think the Bible isn't valid, just go look and study it, and it'll show you that it's correct, especially when it actually predicts future events. And it does it accurately. Well, till next time, stay safe out there. Keep fighting against evil.